Well, hello and thank you for joining us. This is our first broadcast in a series that will be taking a long look towards the Cheltenham anti-post betting picture. What we tend to do is we're going to pick out horses that we've maybe seen out the previous week. We might have previewed them in our 5 to follow for the weekend. Don't forget to subscribe and take a look at our channel for that series. The other thing I suggest you do is just make a note of these as we go along. Let's see how many we can get in the frame. We've picked the brains of our expert members and you guys on our Twitter feed as well. Don't forget to follow us on there. And you can download the OLBG app and you can see all the comments around these kind of horses that we're looking forward to seeing. It was a huge weekend of racing with plenty of big names back out, some for the first time, some re-emerging. So we'll go through the 5 we've got for you. We've got one very exciting 40-1 shot anti-post that it's going to be a bit of a gamble, but we'll see, as well as some star household names that you guys at home will be more familiar with. But yeah, what a great weekend of racing we had. Arguably the highlight, well, it depends where you look. Q-Card's jumping was fantastic, and we'll touch on him a little bit later on. But the first horse I want to bring up for a little bit of discussion is going to be an old friend of plenty of people's, Rock on Ruby. A horse that, well, you'd love to own a horse like this, wouldn't you, Rock on Ruby? Harry Fry's done an exceptional job to keep him going. He's getting on in age a little bit, but he returned to win the Coral Hurdle at Ascot on Saturday. Harry said afterwards that we'll next be seeing him in the Ringkeel Hurdle at Cheltenham, which I think is his ideal distance, is around the 2-mile 4 mark. And it tends to be the trip that he excels at. Obviously, he did win a champion hurdle. Technically, he was in the care of Paul Nicholls at the time when Harry was assistant there, but he was doing a lot of the training, I sense. Will we see him in the World Hurdle? This is the question I wanted to ask you guys tonight. 33-1, best price at the moment. I don't think they're going to send him for that sort of trip. There's a good race at Aintree that would be a perfect trip for him. We might not see him at the festival, but if we did 33-1, would you fancy a piece of that? The World Hurdle does look wide open. Cole Harden, the reigning champion, if you like, is a big price as well. He's in at double figures in that market. But Rock on Ruby, an old timer we have to mention because he did a really good job. And it was a great ride, actually, by Barry Geraghty this time on the horse. So credit to him for a good win. Wonder if you guys have got any views on him heading to the World Hurdle or not. What would you do with him if it was yours? Would you skip the festival and head to Aintree instead? I know plenty of people think we aim too much just at Cheltenham. Aintree's there. You've also got Punchestown as well at the end of the season. There are big spring festivals throughout those closing months of the season. But we must move on. I'm going to head now to, this was my favourite performance of the entire weekend. I don't know how you couldn't be pleased to see this horse go so well. It is, of course, one of everyone's favourites, Q-Card. I won't lie, we put up Silviniaco Conti because that's who our members were backing, but Q-Card absolutely jumped to perfection. You couldn't, Conti didn't do a bad job out in front, but my word, Q-Card had some effort and a great ride from Paddy Bremen, who looked like he really enjoyed it. We had some good emotional scenes in the parade ring afterwards, but it was some very late money as well. I thought Q-Card might have even ended up going off even shorter than he did. There was some real late money and he did impress. You couldn't fail to be impressed. Obviously, the Jockey Club have put up this £1 million bonus. He would need to go on to Kempton and win the King George on Boxing Day. And who's to say he won't? Who's to say he won't? But if he does go and win that, the 14-1 for him to win the Gold Cup will be gone. That will be absolutely gone because there'll be no doubt in anyone's mind that Q-Card will be heading for that race. And I don't care how rich your owners are. If you're 2 out of the 3 legs completed to win a big prize like that, you're going to be heading for it. If, however, he doesn't win on Boxing Day, I'd love to know your views. Where do you think he'll go? Which race do you see him heading for at the festival? Because he looked better than ever. I can't fail to see him making the frame in any race he decides to turn up in over any trip. And he loves Cheltenham. He's obviously had good experiences there before in the past. And credit to Colin Tizard. He doesn't have the biggest string, but it's great to see slightly smaller yards having big race day victories. Because I think we don't want to see our sport dominated by one trainer. And Colin's obviously, since this wind-up or operation that's changed Q-Card's breathing, he's been an even better horse. I wouldn't say a different horse, but he really finished the race well. And I was delighted to see. Let's move on now, and we're going to head across to Ireland, where there was a very impressive performance, in some ways, from Douvan. First chase in public, and that was at Navan at the weekend. If you've watched the race, you'll probably get excited by how he jumps, but he was never really out third gear. There was no strong competition, and he's going to need to improve. I want to know, you guys, do you think 7 to 4 for the Arkle is a good value price? Because if he comes out and wins again, he's only going to shorten. But at the same time, do you want to just wait for the day now? You're probably going to get a fairly decent price on the day. Anything can go wrong. 7 to 4 to sit on for 16 weeks. We've got till the festival. I'd love to get your views on it. Doesn't necessarily look the most competitive division. There's plenty of good 2-mile chasers out there, but Douvan is going to set apart the standard and will be the market leader for the foreseeable future. So, yeah, do you think Willie Mullins is going to step him up a little bit in competition-wise? Do you want to see him take on some better horses? Let's be honest, there wasn't a lot to trouble him in that race. He did have to have a little bit of a... Ruby Walsh had a bit of an at the last fence. Just tended to go a little bit close, but I think he dealt with it really well, which is always a good sign of a good horse. Well, we come on to the other Willie Mullins runner that we did mention previously last week on our 5 to Follow blog. He obliged at a very small price, and he's one that a lot of people have a big view on, and he really split opinion on our Twitter page. Valtor. Now, he jumped out to the side a little bit. He beat Petit Zig just about. He looked workmanlike. He looked sluggish. Yet, some bookmakers were impressed enough to cut him for the King George, while others pushed him out. Paddy Power pushed him to 6 to 1 for the Gold Cup. Now, that will look value if he wins on Boxing Day. But he divided opinion. And Ruby Walsh afterwards, a lot of people felt he wasn't too bullish about how the horse had gone. He wasn't animated enough. Other people said afterwards he was. Listen, it's a starting point for Valtor. Remember, we put him up at 20 to 1 to go unbeaten for the season. So if he goes to a very competitive Boxing Day race and wins it, you're going to be hard pushed to see him not winning a Gold Cup, especially after how well he performed at Prestbury Park last year in the JLT. He is a ready-made winner in rating. But do you think the 6 to 1 is good value? Get your views into us. Comment on the video. Tell us on Twitter. We love to know. Now, our final horse, we wanted to try and find some value. A few of the guys said to me, oh, we've got to put something up at a bigger price. So I went back through the videos and tried to find a horse that won and caught my eye for the right reasons and is still a big price. And it's trainer Dan Skelton's Welsh Shadow. If you watch the take back from his win Friday at Haydock, he just looked every inch a good horse. Won an impressive style. I think a step up in triple suit, so I wouldn't be rushing to take this price, but 40 to 1 for the Supreme Novices could be an interesting horse. I wouldn't be putting the house on it, but we had to give something at a better price, so we thought 40 to 1 about a horse that's probably going to have a better career. I thought maybe looked a bit more a chaser, but anything he does over hurdles is going to be a bonus, and he's in the right hands. Dan Skelton's a really good, I think up and coming would be underestimating him. He's a good, solid trainer. He knows how to win, and he'll be looking for festival success. He's not going to dodge that. He knows that that's the one thing that will attract more and more owners and can help him grow his yard. So 40 to 1 for the Supreme Novices. I wouldn't be rushing to have a huge bet on it, but if you want something that's a little bit left field and a bit different, it's just one suggestion from our many OLBG members that put up winning tips. Don't forget to check out our site. Subscribe to this channel. We're going to have our Weekend to Follow blog up very soon, where we're going to have a dark horse for the Hennessy for you guys out there that are looking for a bit of value. Thanks for watching.